Yamaha has just revealed an all-new RMAX4, and this is a full-size four-seater version of the RMAX that is totally new to their lineup. So in this video, we're going to talk about everything that you want to know about this new full-size four-seater, and we'll talk about what's going on with the rest of the RMAX lineup as well. Now, there was previously an RMAX4. However, that model Yamaha is still going to produce, but they're calling it the RMAX4 Compact because this new RMAX4 is 27.5 inches longer than the old RMAX4, and that's because they've made it really a full-size four-seater side-by-side. So, as we'll show you, this rear area is going to be considerably bigger, more comfortable, better ingress and egress, and that's going to be the primary difference with this vehicle. With this new RMAX4, we have a much bigger door. Once you're in, you feel very locked in, partly because of this shoulder pad and also partly because now these RMAX4s have the same style grip for you to hold on to as is up front. So the old RMAX4, that's now called the Compact, just had a bar with a little pad on it. This has a much more secure grip for you. You also have a pad on your right for your knee to run into, though on your left it will just be coming up against the side of this console, and this console also gives you some storage here. There's a weather seal around the top of it, and there is a drain in the bottom, so theoretically you could use this as a cooler. You also do have a USB in here, although it's a USB-A. A lot of vehicles are moving away from USB-As, so it would be nice to see a USB-C, but alas, you still at least have some power, cup holders there, and then a little bit of extra storage, kind of like what you have up front. But these are very thick padded seats, very comfortable, and this XTR, being that it's heavily accessorized, also has some speakers here in the rear doors. Usually those are reserved specifically for the limited models, and the XTRs typically will just give you those front speakers, but there's a lot that you can do in the way of accessories. One noticeable difference when you're sitting in the back of this new RMAX4 versus the old RMAX4, now called the Compact, is that you don't have as much of the stadium seating position. So you're sitting a little lower in this. Yamaha says that makes you feel a little bit more stable, but your visibility from the seat, if you're looking directly forward, is not great. You can look around the seat and try to peer through the windshield up ahead of you, but if you and a passenger next to you are both trying to do that, you might be clanking helmets a little bit. Yamaha does also give you the ability to change the anchor point on your seatbelts, which is nice if you're switching between having adult riders or younger riders. You can adjust that for a little bit of extra comfort. Yamaha was also very keen on talking about their grips for your feet here. They are textured to give you a little bit better traction, and they're angled toward you. So that way, as you're going down the trail, you can stabilize yourself more with your legs, which should make you ideally a little bit more comfortable after a full day ride. Now, this event for these machines is just a reveal, so we don't actually get to drive them at all yet. But I can tell you, even from just sitting back here, it is a very comfortable place to sit. The seat is very plush. I'm locked in with this shoulder pad and with my feet, and this grip is really nice. So this is going to be a pretty comfortable machine, even from the rear seat. Just for comparison, here is the old RMAX4 that is now called the Compact, and I say old, this is actually one of the new ones, so it has a few of those new features that are carrying over into these. And for comparison, I will show you what it's like getting into this one. Definitely the ingress and egress more difficult, and then my leg room, my space back here, much more limited. So I've got 40% less leg room in this as compared to the new RMAX4. And then this is my only grab bar. It's just some rubberized material around this cage that's behind these seats. So I have a lot less space. It's not nearly as comfortable as the rear in that vehicle. But of course, that vehicle is also 27.5 inches longer wheelbase than this one. So that's going to be a big consideration. If you need a more compact vehicle that might fit down some tighter trails, this is a way that you can get 4 people around. But if you want to really emphasize your comfort for those 4 people, the new RMAX4 is going to be better. But there's still a use case for this one. The bed on this RMAX4 is the same bed that you get on the RMAX2. So a lot of the accessories that are already out for that bed will also work on this. And because it's like the RMAX2 bed, we can do a dump feature here. And then you get a look at the parallel twin 1000cc motor that's here. This is the same motor that they've been running, same basic CVT setup. There are a few differences in the powertrain that we'll talk about, but that's not one of them. Even when you're carrying 4 passengers, you'll have 3 times the cargo volume that you would have if you were carrying 4 passengers in the RMAX4 Compact. Up front, there are also quite a few new features to the RMAX, and a lot of these are actually going to carry over to all the other RMAXs, one of the biggest of which being this turf mode. So before, you were always at least in 2-wheel drive with the rear end locked together. Now you're able to go into a essentially 1-wheel drive mode that will let you drive around on grass, not tear things up so much, or you can lock the rear end, or you can go into 4-wheel drive, or really 3-wheel drive, until you lock up that front diff, and then your full 4 wheels spinning the same speed. This does not give you the option, like some other side-by-sides, to be able to be in 4-wheel drive without the rear end locked together, but having that turf mode is a big improvement for a lot of people that need to drive around on grass. They've also done a pretty significant overhaul on the electronic power steering, so it's a more powerful system that can give you quite a bit more assist if you need to, and it is adjustable. So you've got your high, standard, and low settings that you can use. If you're rock crawling, maybe you want it in the high setting to give you a little bit more assistance, or if you're going faster and you want some more feedback, you can switch it over to low. But if you go to full diff lock mode, it will automatically give you the maximum assistance from that power steering, and the Yamaha guys are saying from the testing that they've done that it really makes a big difference as to how this vehicle steers when you're in full diff lock mode. They said it doesn't feel like you have your diff locked, but until we get behind the wheel and test it ourselves, it's hard to say. Now this XTR has a more basic display in front of the driver, but if you opt for a limited model, you will get a much nicer TFT directly in front of you. It's worth noting too that if you like the nicer TFT that sits in front of the driver, you can actually get one for your XTR and have the dealer install it. They just have to wire it in, but it's pretty plug and play from what the Yamaha guys tell us. This vehicle also has a new 7-inch Adventure Pro system here in the center. This is integrated into the dash, and it's also configurable. So I can go in, hold down, and I can choose between quite a few different things to display, which is pretty cool to have. So you can decide how you want to configure that. Also, as you switch through some of your different modes and settings on here, it will bring up little animations to tell you what of the different D modes, for example, you're switching between, and otherwise the D modes are the same, but it is cool that it gives you a little bit of an animation there on the screen. Also pretty cool that you have this screen here showing you the status of your differentials in your 4-wheel drive system. You've also got your pitch and roll on there. So some pretty cool stuff. Also some phone connectivity, so you can Bluetooth to this to go through this new MTX system. So it's also a new stereo system on this, which the Yamaha guys say not only gets louder, but sounds better. It's got higher fidelity at that higher audio level. So you can hook up your phone to it. There is also a navigation system that's built into this, which comes pre-programmed with some maps. You can also load in your own maps. Also, if you get a limited, you will have a rear camera. And this is a little bit of a hint towards something that they're working on. This is a prototype RMAX, but they do plan in the future to offer a front camera as well as the rear camera. Like with other Yamaha RMAXs, you also have quite a few locations for you to place some accessory switches, and they make it pretty easy to wire those things in. So there's 11 blanks total on this XTR. If you get one of the limited models, because it has another switch for the IQS Fox suspension, you'll have 10 blanks, but still they make it pretty easy, and these are just rubber plugs that you can pull out, so you don't actually have to do any cutting if you want to install some switches. We also have more power up here in the front. This is a USB. Once again, it's a USB-A. I wish we had a USB-C somewhere. And then we've also got a 12 volt here on the dash. One personal note though, I do wish that this windshield was a little bit taller, because I feel like my visibility upward is somewhat limited. Aside from the power steering, Yamaha also made improvements to the braking system that will make their way over to the other RMAX models as well. So there's new calipers and new knuckles, and Yamaha says that that will give these machines better braking feel and better bite. And they also changed the way that the front differential engages and locks up. So there shouldn't be the same ignition cut that there was in the past. And Yamaha says that it will also engage quicker than it did in the past. And once you have it fully locked up, they said that it should also give you a higher top speed when fully locked. Suspension travel on this machine is 14.2 inches in the front and 16.9 in the rear, and your ground clearance is 13.8 inches. So that's the same as the RMAX2, 0.4 inches more than the RMAX4 Compact. The new RMAX4 also runs a 30-inch Maxxis Carnivore tire, and if you get this XTR model, you'll have a 14-inch beadlock wheel. For suspension, you get these Fox QS3s on the XTR, but if you opt for a limited, you will have the IQS system that gives you some adjustability using a switch on your dash. Now, those of you who have been watching our TFL Off-Road channel for a long time will recognize this figure.
Hey, everybody.
This is Steven.
So yeah, we're down here checking out this RMAX, and I don't know, Case, I think it looks pretty cool. What do you think?
I definitely think it looks like a cool rig, something that we're going to be excited to get out on. But what's your impression? Where do you think this fits in?
I think they've made a lot of smart changes. They listened to the market. The unlockable rear differential, that's a huge deal. Every time I reviewed one of these, there's tons of comments about that, so you don't have to go tearing up your front lawn anymore. The new Adventure Pro looks great. I think what I'm most happy about is that even though they brought out this new RMAX4, they stretched it way out, they kept the compact model. So you still have that shorter wheelbase. If you are riding in, trails like we have in Ontario where you're in the forest, you probably don't want the monster wheelbase, and now you have a choice. So yeah, I think more choice is always better for consumers. And of course, we haven't ridden it yet, so I can't talk about how it drives, but just from this short look, I think it looks nice, man.
Yeah, and I agree with you. More options are always a good thing. And
Totally.
If you want to check out Steven's review on this, you can check it out at TK Powersports, right?
Yeah, come check it out. Take care, TFL Off-Road.
These new RMAX4s are going to start at $28,000, and if you want to get the limited version, it's $29,200. And actually, the rest of the RMAX lineup has either stayed the same as far as price, or a lot of the models are $1,200 to $1,500 cheaper than they were in the past. And this is going to have the same 10-year belt warranty that the other RMAXs have had, so should give you some confidence with the durability on this, because obviously Yamaha has some confidence in that durability if they're offering that big of a warranty. There's also going to be some cool accessories coming down the line that are not quite available yet, but you will be able to get a heater, which includes heating vents for the rear passengers, which is nice, and a new MTX subwoofer to go with that MTX audio system if you want to option that. And Yamaha says that the waterproofing on that new subwoofer should be better than past subwoofers to accompany the better sound quality overall that they say that this new system has. So that's everything that we know about this so far. We still haven't had a chance to get out and actually operate it, so that's our next big step, but still good to see that Yamaha is offering a full-size four-seater version of this side-by-side. Let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all for this video, and we'll see you in the next.